as I said, she was a 10 with Trayvon. So, I'm just glad it's over with. I'm happy with the judge's decision. And, hopefully she learned something from this because I know I did.
Plaintiff Keith Hudson says when he moved to Chicago from Louisiana, everything was great until he started having issues with his neighbor, the defendant. Keith claims the defendant not only damaged some of his planters, but she also dirtied his car and killed one of his rose bushes, so he's suing. Defendant Mia Portis admits that she's had some run-ins with Keith, but insists she has never done anything malicious. Mia's countersuing for harassment because she claims Keith not only threatened to harm her property, but he also threatened to harm her.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Your Honor, in 2014, I was involved in a near-fatal automobile accident with an 18-wheeler, and I'm just fortunate to be alive in Louisiana. So during that time frame, I started receiving steroid injections, which caused me to pick up a couple of pounds. So the doctors advised me at that point in time to lose a few pounds before having back surgery. And I'm happy to report that I lost over 50 pounds and been able to maintain that weight loss. In 2016, I moved from New Orleans, Louisiana to Chicago, Illinois for two reasons. One, because I knew Chicago was a city I could move around using the transit system because I no longer wanted to drive. And two, it was a better team of doctors I could choose for having back surgery.
And three, he loves cold weather.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So things were going well. I had my back surgery. Things were really going well. It felt like a new lease on life. And then in February of 2019, I purchased a new home. And again, things were going well until my neighbor, Mia Portis, and I began to have problems.
Ruin your life. Everything was going fine.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Till she wouldn't go with you. Go ahead.
There were a couple of incidents that happened.
I know. You go ahead, sir.
There was a couple of incidents that happened. First, it was I had in April of 2019, I had placed 8 potters on my back balconies. During that time frame, the planters, they didn't have holes in them, and I purposely got them that way because there's a neighbor underneath of me, and I didn't want any watering to drain when I watered my plants. Well, one day I came home from work. Mia Portis told me that she and another neighbor had drilled holes in my planters. Didn't ask them to do so. They just did it on their own.
Why did they say they did it?
For drainage, proper drainage of the water.
So they were helping you or competing for you?
Well, they were. I'm not for sure either, sir. I purposely bought the planters so that they wouldn't drain onto the property underneath me. And eventually.
What was the next problem you had?
So the next problem was in late June of 2019. I had just detailed my own car. I cleaned it out totally because I was going to take my first road trip. And I was going to try to drive to Memphis, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And so I would.
However you book, first check Kayak to find great deals and filter out flights you maybe don't want, like ones with layovers.
Mama needs a cleaner that's plastic free. Mama's cleaner gotta clean naturally. You want a cleaner that cans as much as you can? Mama needs powerful plastic free flow bag, not just clean.
Oh my God.
Hey, Whataburger, bring that Pico de Gallo burger, and I'll bring back 3 of my table tents. Okay, deal. The Pico de Gallo burger is back. We're bringing back the hits. What a burger.
At Grapevine Lincoln, we don't just treat our customers with excellence, we also treat our employees with the same level of dignity.
I was getting prepared for this trip. I got out the car and everything, and I left the top down. And I hardly ever used my car. And so I The day for my trip, I went out into the garage, I put my stuff in the car, got on the road, and noticed that my vehicle had dirt all over it. On the inside, outside, every place. Just a dusting of dirt.
You got plants in there?
No, sir, I didn't.
She had something to do with it, you suspect?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me get some background from you, and then I'll get back to you on the specifics.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am?
Well, I am a teacher. I have a stressful position, demanding position. So when I come home, I'm trying to live the opposite life. I purchased in November. 3 months later, he purchased. I was very happy when he moved in. We were definitely neighborly. In the sense that I took packages for him. He came over my house and drilled a hole for me. We exchanged pleasantries. We didn't have any problems. He is right. The problems did start with the drainage of the plant and the layer of dust.
What was that about, the plant?
So what happened was, I was in the backyard of the neighbor he's speaking about. They're both gardening enthusiasts. So she has bad knees. So she asked me to go on, we share a long balcony. She asked me to go get the planters, and she was going to drill holes. I was excited. We all got along. I thought, as you said, she's doing him a favor. They didn't both know a lot about gardening. I went and got the planters for her. So he's right. When he came home, I was excited. And I said, hey, the neighbor drilled the holes in it because she said you didn't have any holes. And I did notice he was way less than enthusiastic. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, oh, thanks. And I just, walked away because I could see he didn't really appreciate
they broke up by then.
So then he is right. I did sweep the garage.
And you had busted him. He really was winking at you, and you had busted him all together. First you first you find out he ain't going with her no more. Now you're acting that way.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, definitely not. So I did. He is right. I did get his car dirty. It wasn't anything malicious.
Give me the specifics of the car.
I discovered it was dirty on my first stop, and on the road and everything. And my clothing was dirty, and I was just frustrated because I knew I cleaned my vehicle out, and I hadn't been in it for 2 weeks because I'm really nervous about driving. So when I got back home, I looked in the garage. There could only be two issues: either I took the car out and it got dirty, or it got dirty in the garage. And so I looked at her side, and it was clean, and my other neighbor and my side was dirty. So I assumed that she swept her side of the garage, and I leave my top down, so easy access. It's a convertible, Your Honor. And so easy access to, just get in and go. I had to get a full detail in Memphis for $189. So then, the next issue is then in November of 2019, I brought in my rose bushes from the outside to bring into the garage.
November 19, you say you brought you. You had plenty of money. Brought you a Rolls Royce, all right.
No, sir, not a Rolls Royce. A rose bush.
Oh, I thought you said you bought a rose and put it in your garage.
No, remember, I'm a plant enthusiast.
That's what I said. You might have something going on there. I'm planting. I don't know what you planting. You can't get that off weed plants. You had to have coca plants to get your Rolls Royce and be laid off for not working okay. But you did say in the garage, so I ain't crazy. Go ahead. You put your Rose, R-O-S-E.
Yes.
Not R-O-L-L-S.
There you go.
All right. In the garage.
Yes, sir. I had 2 rose bushes.
I bet you get women off that, don't you? Hey, baby, I got a rose in the garage.
There you go.
They get that. Let me see this Rolls Royce you got in the garage. That's after things happen, huh? I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you later on. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Your Honor.
You put your rolls in the garage. What was the purpose of?
So, just so that, because they were new, they weren't strong enough to survive the winter here in Chicago, I thought. So I brought them in, and I put one on each side of the garage. Now, I'm in the center of the garage, So I have the center parking space, and I really don't have any storage, but at the back of the door. And so I put one on each side, so not to inconvenience one person, but, it was just one on each side. Miss Porter then started taking it upon herself to move that plant on her side. Well, it wasn't on her side, but near her side of the
So
garage.
what damage was done?
So the rosebush died. It would never, when I brought it out this year, it never lived again.
And you attribute that to
Miss Porter's
doing
moving
what?
it back and forth. Plants don't like to be moved a lot.
All right. Ma'am,
So,
tell me about the dirt. It sounds like I heard you about to admit to that. What
so
happened
the first
there?
issue with the dirt, I was in my garage doing something, and I realized it was just really dirty. So I pulled my car into the alley. It was a summer day, and I swept my garage. And he had his windows up. He did have his top dropped. I have a push broom, and I was painstakingly sweeping. It wasn't anything malicious, and I was just cleaning my garage. So I heard the plaintiff and the neighbor, he was furious about something about his car. And when I listened more, I said, oh shoot, I must have gotten his car dirty. So I caught him on his back balcony one day, and I said, hey, I was listening to my ring, and you were really upset about your car being dirty. I was like, did I get your car dirty? I said, if I got your car dirty, let me pay for it. I'll pay for it to get it cleaned. He refused any kind of conversation. I was like, I'm trying to talk to you. I can't talk to you right now. He's shaking. He's so angry. And I'm like, well, cool. Okay, then I go downstairs and go about my merry way.
What about the rose?
On page 19 is what the space looks like when his car is not there. Page 17 is what it looks. This is the space that I have to travel to get to my car. So I don't have hardly any space. And prior to this bag being on there, he just had the rose bush.
You all have mutual use of the garage.
Yeah, so where that door is, that is his space. And he doesn't have any space to store.
He stored the rose within his zone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, he is right. I did move it, but I never pick it up because half the time, as you can see on page 19, the thorns are sticking out, and he waters it a lot.
How did you move it, man?
So when I moved it, I'll move it, with my coat or with my foot, just moving it back.
What did you say when he approached you about the rose?
He never approached me.
Sir, you never said anything to her about this rose?
Yes and no, sir. Can I?
Sure, go right ahead.
So let's go back to the issue with the vehicle being damaged from her first sweeping. From the dirt. So she is correct. She did approach me one day after work in August. And she is correct. She stated that she overheard the conversation between the other neighbor and myself. I was asking my other neighbors for some friendly advice on how to approach the situation with Mrs. Portis. I thought my other neighbor was impartial enough to keep that conversation private. She immediately told Ms. Portis. And I wasn't ready to deal with her and that issue at that point in time because my family, there was a hurricane in New Orleans at that point in time, and I was really busy trying to help
And that was when?
This was in August, early August of 2019.
When did you become interested in talking to her about it?
No, she is correct. She did approach me on the back porch one day, coming home from work, and she said, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, sure. She said, well, I hear you've been complaining. I said, hold up for a second. I said, already, you're coming to me incorrectly. I said, the problem is not about me complaining to someone else. The problem is that you're going into the garage doing anything and everything that you feel you want to do. But this is a shared space, and you can't just do whatever you want to do.
So she didn't mention the rose specifically?
This was about the car, and we never had a conversation regarding the rose at all.
That's what I'm saying, ever.
We did in the garage. One day, we had...
You said we never had a conversation about the rose at all. When I say ever, you say we did have one.
Okay, yes, sir, we did eventually. After she...
Ever? That's what that means.
Yes, we did. After she had moved it a couple of times, and I just got so frustrated, I waited for her in the garage. This is early February of 2020. I waited in the garage, and I said... and I moved some her boxes in the center of her parking space. So when she came in, in the garage, she bumped into her own boxes. And then she said, "Can I ask you, where are you moving my items?" I said, "I would like to ask you that same question."
Sir, do you have any evidence of what her moving the rose would do to it? I have no idea whether picking up a rose, putting it somewhere else, would cause it to die.
Yes,
I just don't know that to be the case.
No, I didn't bring any evidence, no, sir.
All right, and the counterclaim for harassment, what did he do to you?
So that day with the boxes, when I came home, I was backing into the garage, and he had placed those boxes in the middle of my garage so I couldn't back in. And I said, "Hey, you've been moving my stuff. Please stop moving my things. Why are you moving my stuff?" And then I said, "Are you still upset about me getting your car dirty? Dude, I'll pay for you." I asked him the second time. I said, "Dude, I'll pay to get your car rewashed. Stop moving my stuff." That's when he went into B, "Stop talking to me. I don't even like your A." And then he said, "I'll you and all this S up." And I said, "Oh, you crazy. I'm leaving." That's literally what I said to him. And I left out of the garage because if somebody tell you they're going to you up, I believe you.
How much was the car? Was it for the detailing?
Yes, sir. So I had to, it was $200.
You have anything? Did you give me a receipt?
Yes,
on
sir.
that?
There is a receipt. It is, I also had to get a police report done on page 10.
Can I just have the receipt for the car? Nobody
The receipt
listening
is
to all
on
this
page 8, Your Honor.
nonsense. Somebody moving a box, moving the rolls, and y'all come in here and want thousands of dollars for it. What do you have?
On page 8, Your Honor.
She moved my road, give me 8,000. He moved my box, give me 5,000. You need this $100. What did it cost for the detail? $254, sir.
No, it's $200.
Okay, that's
Hey,
his
Jay.
judgment. $200. This is over. This is over. This is move yourself out of here. Y'all like moving so much. Move with that. All right, have a good day.
Plaintiffs Thomas Cuss and his girlfriend Kelsey Anderson rented an apartment to the defendants. Kelsey claims they terrorized their upstairs tenant so much that she broke her lease and moved out. They're suing for unpaid rent. Defendants Adrian Rayford and his wife Candace Bostic say while renting the plaintiff's apartment, the plaintiffs were rehabbing the unit downstairs, and they were constantly drunk and arguing. They're countersuing for emotional distress.
Start with you.
The defendants, Adrian and Candace, moved in May of 2017, and right from the get-go, there was problems, headaches, complaints. We had tenants move in upstairs in October, end of October, and they literally terrorized the woman to a point where she felt in such stress and such fear for her own life, she actually broke her lease and vacated the premises early and broke her lease.
She told you that's why?
We actually have a letter from her. We received text messages from her saying they had locked her out.
How did they lock her out?
Oh, common
From the common front area, and actually also here's
music.
blaring music. We actually have a video we can show you. This is the picture of the police.
And what other problems? This is October. You said they moved in May of 17.
Yes, parking in the tenants' parking spots, cigarette butts on the lawn, blocking the basement door, denying us access to the basement area.
Blocked it how?
They put a wooden board across the door, so we were not able to get in. We were able to unlock. We asked them on several occasions to remedy that.
Did they say why they didn't?
Actually, yes, she did. I received a text message from her after I had spoke with her about it, and she had said she didn't feel safe in that neighborhood. I'm not going to apologize for locking the door. The point is, I'm tired of it. She thinks it's horrible here. I can just imagine if she had the minority living below her. Just saying.
Wait, what? Minority living below? What are you talking about?
What's your text?
That's the text message. I can't. I'm just saying what she had
wide open to anyone to just walk in. I'm not going to apologize for locking the door. The point is, I'm tired of it. She thinks it's horrible here.
This was the upstairs tenant because I had sent her a text message regarding
I
the
can
blaring
just
music.
imagine if she had the minority living below her. Just saying. If I lived below her, I promise you it wouldn't be a problem. Just saying, we keep to ourselves and have no other issues with anyone but her. She's the problem. So whatever sob story she gave you is nothing but a cry for attention. Maybe she's making up excuses to break her lease. I don't know. All I ask is to talk to us before you call and jump down our throats. Well, she's just denying what the tenant is saying. And, you know, that means she doesn't think they're doing anything wrong.
We actually have a video because the tenant had texted us several times regarding blaring music, and she actually had to notify the authorities, and the authorities did issue him a citation. And that is also stated in the letter.
This was when?
In January.
You got a copy of that?
I do not have that,
Okay.
but I do have the pictures
Let's see
of
it,
the
please.
police officers outside the house.
You
I
gave me
sent you a
that.
picture.
All right,
Yes.
that's what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. That's not them, that's black people. And that's what she said. That was she said. I was going by what she said. That's what she said. Only minorities would do such a thing. Go ahead, let me hear from you all.
We moved into their apartment on May 17th. They were remodeling the downstairs. Every day that they were there working, they were intoxicated. Always had a bottle.
That is a blatant lie.
Okay.
No, it's not.
They argued and fought with each other.
Again, that is a total lie.
Quiet, ma'am. They didn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
They argued for 5 months back and forth, and we were living upstairs during all this. He's constantly yelling at his workers, screaming, slamming stuff.
Workers who were
His family, his brothers that were helping him.
repairing the home or something, repairing the apartment.
Remodeling the downstairs.
Okay,
We were upstairs, and
You all ever complained to her about this or him?
not so much. I mean, there's times where they would stay the night. They'd be too intoxicated to drive home. We'd
Sleeping in their car.
find them in the car in the morning in the driveway.
Is that true? Did that happen?
That is a complete lie. They actually did complain to us about, they did actually complain to us about the noise because she was working the night shift at the time.
What are they gonna say they found you in the driveway?
That is a blatant lie. Hold on, that is a blatant lie, Your Honor. I was actually
Sir, you hear she said, shut up! Time to talk. She run this, it's her program.
I just wanted to.
Tom even came upstairs because he was intoxicated and not feeling the greatest, and I gave him something to eat and something to drink before he drove home.
All right. And
there's more to that.
Go ahead.
After the downstairs was remodeled, we moved downstairs. Now, the place was just freshly remodeled, and I found Coke bags in the bathroom, little green baggies with powder in them. I asked him about it. I said, hey, I found these baggies in there, and he laughed and said, oh, it must have been from the last people that lived there. The whole place just got remodeled and redone. So I don't know where these bags came from.
Came from the contractor. Now go ahead. What else?
One day the door was locked.
Didn't you say your brother was working down there too? Or whose relatives? Oh, his relatives. All right. Somebody's just a cokehead between the two families. I don't know who it is.
One day.
You ever get you a blow every now and then?
No.
I'm just asking. A lot of times people don't know what their spouse or their family member is doing.
No.
I've had folks in here all the time don't know that the man was a crackhead when they got together. How long you all been together?
10 years.
10 years.
Oh, okay. You know by now. All right. So it wasn't hers. All right. We got that out the way.
And then, one day, he came over to the house, beating on the door because the basement was locked. I mean, this guy's beating on the door like it's the police, like they're kicking the door in. I answered the door. I was in my underwear. I had just woken up, and I answered the door. And I was like, "What's wrong, Tom?" And he starts screaming, spit flying out of his mouth. I can smell the booze on him.
Trying to force his
He got
way
yelling at me about the basement being locked. So I closed the door because I'm not ready to deal with this. I'm just waking up, and he grabbed the door and trying to pry his way in there. Yelling at me on the other side of the door. I hit the top lock and locked it, and he's hitting the door again. He told me I was going to be evicted for locking the basement door, and the bar was already there. I just was the one that put it up.
All right, they're suing for unpaid rent, $3,600. Let's hear about that.
Starting in October, Adrian had notified us that he was having back surgery and that there was going to possibly be issues with rent because he was going to be getting disability checks. We spoke with them about this and we worked with them from October, November, December, January to kind of get squared up with what they were delinquent in. Come February, they paid partial rent. They owed $200 remaining in February. March, April, May, they did not pay. We did not receive any monies from February forward. And then at the beginning of May, we notified them that we were going to be showing the place. We did so again at the end of May. They sent us text messages we were not allowed to show
Showing
the
it
place.
based on what? Hold on. Showing it based on what? They had agreed to move, or you all had evicted them? How can you show something where the
We
lease
had
has
issued
term?
them a 5 days to pay or vacate. They acknowledged that they received the letter via text to Tom. They acknowledged that on May 10th. They did not pay. They did not vacate.
Did they tell you they intended to vacate?
They did not. He actually on May 13th said, I have most of the cash for you. I'm hoping you have all the monies by the end of the month. He did not.
You can't adjust their tendency unless the court tells you you can by way of eviction.
Right, and we went to, and we did.
When did you start showing the house?
We did not start showing it because they would not allow us to.
And was that before you went to court, they wouldn't allow you to?
Yes, but per their lease agreement, Your Honor, it does actually say that we do have the right to show the place as long as we give them adequate notice. We notified them, and then we started getting text messages when we were reminding them about the showing that we were not allowed in. There were no trespassing signs.
Let's
They
see
have
the lease
dogs.
that says that. Did you all know the lease allows, even prior to you all moving, that they can come in at will?
Your Honor, it's not at will. We give notification, and the reason that...
Did you give them the day and time?
Well, the reason being is yes.
Yes, we told them on Saturday.
We don't have to go a month without having the place
You
ready.
gave them a day and time.
And then they don't show up.
That is absolutely not true, Your
And
Honor.
I agreed to be out of the house by the 1st
Yes.
of June.
And when did you get evicted?
You never got evicted.
You never got a judgment of eviction?
No, they send it to the last address.
It
they
says
never
they've
served.
never gotten a judgment for eviction.
On June 12th, we went to court in Racine, Wisconsin, and since they had vacated the premise, the judge did not have to order the writ of eviction since they had already vacated the premise.
Okay, so
On June 1st.
Okay, so that means you don't get any money.
What's that?
That means you don't get any money. The judge said since they had left, there was no reason to hear the case anymore.
But they still owed the money, and that's why we were.
That's why I need to see the judgment, because the judge may not have said that.
You're
What do you have? I didn't actually get anything.
This is proof that he says.
Tell me what it is. Before you, I boss him around. What is it?
This is the text message that we received on Sunday, May 13th from Adrian saying, I'm trying to have all the money for you and I'm waiting on another check and they have it all. So he's admitting that he owes the money in
It
rent.
says that, sir?
I don't know anything, sir. We had a verbal agreement, Tom and I, about taking care of the property, doing the tree work on it.
Absolutely.
And I'd be able to stay until I got
I'm
back.
trying to have all the cash for you, and I have most of it. I'm waiting on another check, and I should have it all.
I was receiving the benefit checks, and something I fell off auto pay with the insurance company, so I didn't get them for about 3 months. And I told him about all that, and I was waiting for the checks. He walked the property with me. He said, "You do all this tree work, you maintain the property, stay here until you get back to work." And then you look at
Your response was, I'm trying to have all the cash.
Yes, sir.
So you turned that deal down because you told them you were trying to have all the cash. Your account claimed $3,600. What did they do to you all?
Distress?
Tell me what they did.
Emotional distress. Him trying to come in my house, and he knows I got rights. He can't come in my house just.
And what happened when he came in?
Oh, he tried. I got the door locked.
Okay, well, if he tried and he didn't make it, you didn't suffer any emotional distress. All right, I'll grant you the judgment based on his text saying that he'll pay. Your claim is dismissed, no emotional distress. Judgment for the plaintiff, your claim dismissed.
I think the judgment is fair, and I'm just happy we get to move forward.
I'm happy that they're out.
We're happy to be
I'm happy to be gone and not deal with someone like you. So.
Okay, what am I wearing to this first date? I want my
bag to match my outfit. Don't panic. I'm a rocker girly today. I'm pulling classics, coming together. I'm doing my favorite Nolita bag. The bag charm is so cute. Okay, I'm ready. Shop yours at coachoutlet.com.
Plaintiff Danielle Mann says the defendant is dating her ex-boyfriend, and she confessed to Danielle that she was trapped in an abusive relationship with this man. Danielle claims she got the defendant a car to escape the abuse, but now she refuses to pay for it. Defendant Ashley Kunis says she's been with Danielle's ex for 3 years, and he has never laid a finger on her. Ashley claims Danielle is just angry because she refused to testify against her boyfriend in their custody battle, and she denies owing Danielle for anything.
Start with you.
Well, Your Honor, Ashley and I dated the same guy. As I've seen on your show, you refer to it as wife-in-laws.
Go ahead.
Well, as wife-in-laws, we confide in each other quite often, mainly about kids, concerns, anything to do with that. Ashley had expressed a concern to me that she was, trapped in a relationship that was, in the same guidelines that I had been through. It was abusive.
Excuse me? Abusive? I've been with the dude for 3 years, and he hasn't laid a finger on me, Danny.
That's why you called me asking me for a car to get out of it.
First off, I'm not the one who called you. Junior called you, so nice try on that one, hun. I didn't call you. I didn't know I was getting a car.
The only way she repaid me was basically by stabbing me in the back.
You all were dating the same guy?
I had a baby with him 2 or 3 years.
And she was dating him at the same time?
No.
Oh, afterwards?
Yes.
Gotcha. And she began calling you say, regarding this same guy abusing her? Mm-hmm. All right. Then what?
Well, like I said, she kind of came running to me, asking me for a car. She had no job, had no money, had nothing established for herself.
All right. So before we get to the car that you're suing her about, let me allow her to give some background. Ma'am?
Well, first off, Your Honor, I'm here only because of the fact that she's mad that I didn't testify against my boyfriend for their custody battle.
It has nothing to do with my custody battle. As I've been saying forever, it's a car. It's money.
You contacted me.
Go ahead, ma'am. Tell me.
Okay.
She contacted you?
Yeah, she contacted me to see if I would testify against him in their custody battle. And I straight up told her that I wasn't going to do it because if I was going to do it, I was going to be honest. I was going to let the judge know she's a drug dealer. I mean, I watched her sell 3 ounces in front of me. I mean, come on.
3 ounces of what?
Weed. And then she wants to see, make it out like she's a perfect mom.
Keeps asking for weed.
Come on, seriously. Me and Junior broke up.
You sell weed, ma'am?
No.
Kush, Hydro? Not a lot of people. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, well, she got mad at me because I told her no, that I was going to be honest. If I got subpoenaed to court, I was going to tell the judge the truth. Well,
she sold you weed.
Well, it didn't sell me.
She gave it to you free.
No, she sold it in front of me.
Go ahead.
No. And then after that happened, and I told her no, that's when she demanded $2,000 when I have a bill of sale that states it's for $1,000.
Let me get to her on the car. You tell me what happened on the car that you're suing her about.
So in May, she came to me, said, I need out of this relationship. I don't have a dime to my name. Nobody trusts me. No wonder why. And so I just had a car. I was in the process of selling it anyway. Well, if she's going to sit here and, they're going to go back and forth with domestic assaults, get her a car, get her out of there. She needs a job. She needs to go to school. So what? I got her a car. I helped her out. Yes, I wrote the bill of sale for cheaper because she can't afford anything.
What'd you write the bill of sale for?
She has the paperwork.
You have the bill of sale?
Yes,
Let's
I
see
do.
it. And Rich says it was written for $1,000. Go ahead.
Like I said, I had tried to help this girl out as much as I possibly could.
How much has she paid you?
Not a dime.
What were the terms of payment to be?
Well, like I said, she was going to be going to school, so her first student check would have came to her in September. She was going to give me $2,000 in September, and that was it. Just paid off in full. The reason that I had written that so cheap was because if you can't afford to put gas in your car, you can't afford to do anything. How are you going to register or anything?
Why do you think I would have bought a car for me if I couldn't afford it?
If you bought a car, I wouldn't be sitting there asking you for money.
Right, because
All right. So you tell me about the agreement and what
the agreement was she, at the time when it happened, was quote unquote going to California to be a model. And so she didn't have her daughter.
For High Times.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. That's probably what it was.
I see you got weed tattoos. You got weed tattoos.
Palm trees.
Oh, that's a palm tree. All right.
It don't say Kush.
High Times is the weed magazine. Go ahead. Isn't that bad? High Times? They still publish that?
I'm apparently the pro.
All the weed heads out there saying, yeah. So she was going to model.
Yeah, well, she didn't have her daughter. I'm more of a mom to her daughter than she is. But anyways, they made an agreement, a written agreement, that the child support that he was paying would go, she would pay it back to him. Well, after the car incident, they made a verbal agreement instead of her paying him back the money that would go towards the car. The child support was supposed to be returned to my boyfriend.
Okay, let's just get that out of the way. You can't make a side agreement regarding child support. Anything regarding the amount of child support to be paid comes from child support services. That's why the law doesn't allow parents to cut deals on the side for their kids. May be the case that they're being manipulated by this man. He come over and make you feel good and he say, now can I just give you $50 a month? Oh yeah, $50 is fine. Will you sign this for me saying it's $50? Oh yeah, well you don't really have to give me nothing. I don't, well just put $1. So to say I'm giving you something. And then when she go to sue for the child support, he pulls out this agreement. Y'all, she said $1 a month. Well, Your Honor, I only said that because he was making me feel good that night. She said it, Your Honor, however she said it. That's why the courts don't allow that. So all you guys and ladies who think you're doing something when you say, I don't want to go through the court. I don't want to put the government in my business. Don't put me on child support. All right, you're tricking yourselves. Because when you do go to court, none of that's going to matter, this little side deal. So you can't make a side deal. I'm going to make you adhere to the contract. $1,000 is your judgment, not the $2,000 you want, but the $1,000 pursuant to this. I can't enforce anything other than what I see. All right? $1,000 for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
I had no reason to ever like her. Clearly, she's going to sit here and say that my child is more hers than mine.
I didn't
Why
say
would I
that
give you
she
a free
was.
car? Why would my child support
that she
go
was.
to any sort of car?
You made that agreement.
Why would I make an agreement?
Okay, I don't know.
It's child support. It's not enforceable.
Why
Do you
did
believe
you
anything
ask
about
that?
the law? Obviously not.
Why did you
get
make
a
that
job?
agreement? Is that in your
business?
Plaintiff Mona Lisa Monaghan says the defendant is her oldest son, and they have always been very close. Mona Lisa claims she agreed to sell the defendant a car, but he failed to pay her, so she's suing. Defendant Chris Monaghan says his recollection of his childhood is much different from his mother's. Chris claims after he took possession of the car, it needed more repairs than he anticipated. So that's where his money went.
Well, my name is Mona Lisa Monaghan. Christopher is my baby. We have a very close relationship. He's very responsible.
Baby as in the youngest?
No, he's my baby. He's the oldest. That's always going to be my baby.
How about the other one?
He's 9 years old. I have 2 boys.
They're not your babies?
Yes.
When do they stop being a baby?
They never do.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you gotta sue him, because you're not letting him be a responsible man. You're still treating him like a baby.
Well,
go ahead. You want to treat him like a baby? Good. You got any more room? Go ahead.
He's very responsible. Graduated, works,
Let's
and
go
keeps
then.
it.
Why are you here? He's very responsible. You say very responsible.
Yes.
All right, well, why are we here? You just told me everything. You said he's very responsible. That means he clearly couldn't have done anything to owe you money?
Well, I don't know now.
Okay.
You might as well hit the gavel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're a great man. This case is yours already. Go ahead.
He works, keeps a good job. I'm very proud of the man and the father that he is today. Growing up, he was a great kid. I have no, well, there is one incident I can recall. When at the age of 14, he and his best friend got caught stealing candy out of a store. I never understood that because Chris has kind of always had the red carpet rolled out for him, which is why we're here today, because it seems like the red carpet has come back and rolled over me, and that's why we're here today.
You just contradicted yourself immediately. Go ahead, let me hear from you.
Well, me and my mom, we always had a off and on relationship when I got older. You know, she was going through a couple issues, which...
Now, she didn't say that. She said you all had a great relationship, and there was only one issue in the relationship, and that's doing what all little kids do, steal candy.
She leaving out a lot.
Lord.
Use kayak to compare hundreds of travel sites at once? I like to do things myself. No machine is better than me.
Kayak. Circ 1 and done.
Hey girl. Oh, that's a lot of takeout. Let's get your cut. Driving.
You know, she was going through issues. I'm not just gonna put it out there, but you know, it landed me in foster care for probably like a year and a half when I was like 6. And you know, I just started doing kid stuff, stealing, being
Hold on. When did
rebellious.
the red carpet come out in foster care? Did they have it in foster care?
I'm not understanding that.
He's never been to foster care, ma'am?
No, he's been with his dad and I. We split, raised him. I had him for half. His dad had him for half.
Is that true, or did you go and live with folks outside of your mother's
No,
house?
he never
Yes,
had
I
him.
I'm talking to him.
Yes, I have.
How long?
It was about a good year and a half.
And that's not true?
No, it's
He's making this up.
I lived with multiple families at the time. I was moving around all around different foster care families.
Okay, so you didn't stay with one family for 1.5 years.
No,
How many families did you stay with within 1.5 years?
at least 3.
And what was the longest you stayed at one?
I was like 6 at the time. I don't remember that.
All right, got it. You were 6 years old. All right, this is very odd that you would say you were there a year and a half.
Right.
And
my father
she
did.
said everything was great with the relationship. She says you had the red carpet rolled out to you all your life.
I wish.
And then you say you had a off and on relationship and that you were in foster care, the very opposite of the red carpet. He's making all this up, huh?
Christopher's had everything.
Why do you think he's making this up?
I'm not really for sure.
Yes.
Christopher, can you give me an explanation, please? I'm not understanding.
No, say, why are you making this up?
Christopher, why are you making this up?
I'm not.
I need an explanation, and I can't see where you're going with this. This doesn't make sense. All of this over you being irresponsible. So you went there with that. I didn't know because this. But anyway, I have whatchamacallit right here.
All right.
Have it
Well, I'm
right
just
here.
leaving that alone. I just have two very, very different recollections of life. You think he had the red carpet and he's very, very responsible.
Yeah.
Yet he owes you money. And secondly, he said it hadn't been a red carpet. He lived in foster care for a year and a half. All right. So tell me about the money.
Well, we had a verbal agreement. I sold him a car July in 2018 for $800, and he was supposed to have paid me back by the end of September. And he hasn't did that.
All right, sir. She said you haven't paid for the car that she gave you or sold to you in July of 18.
Yeah, that's because I had to put a lot of work in the car to keep it up and running. Like the check engine light is still on. When I first got the car, it needed a new battery. I told her I'll put the battery in there, which we did. Then I drove it all the way back to Marion, Indiana. That's where I moved to. Then next thing I know, the engine lights blinking.
How long after purchasing it did the engine light start blinking?
At least 2 days after I got back.
So what'd you do?
Well, I took it to my friend. He's a mechanic, but he's not like a not a.
What did he say was wrong?
It was some wirings inside of the engine that I just had to buy, and he installed. How
much did that cost?
They rounded up to about. The wires were at least $20, and I paid him like $30 for.
Okay, so $50 for wires to the for the engine light to go off. And what else did you have to repair?
Then I had to get some parts to replace the head gasket.
You have a receipt for those?
No, sir.
How much was it?
Let's see.
You don't even remember how much you paid, huh?
No, this was a while ago.
How long ago?
This was like a month ago or so.
Right. You don't remember?
It came out to at least.
You don't remember how much you paid to have an engine repaired 1 month ago. Yet you remembered the $50.
Engine parts are expensive.
You can play games, you can spend $8,000, but you're no match for me. What do you want to tell me in addition to that? Anything else? Because his testimony has been inconsistent and unbelievable and unreliable. So I'm going to grant you a judgment because I can't wait. Please. Have a good judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you so much.
Love you, Fred. Well, we're gonna keep on loving each other and having a red carpet. And yes, ma'am, we're gonna keep loving each other.
Yeah, it's all love, no hard feelings. Just get it. Just glad that it's done and over with, pretty much.
Plaintiff Joanne Doyle says the defendant is nothing but a career criminal and 3-time felon who thinks he's a celebrity. Joanne says she loaned some of her jewelry to the defendant so he could get it photographed on celebrities. But instead he stole it, so she's suing. Defendant David Roth insists he is not a convicted felon and says he tried to return Joanne's jewelry, but she only wanted his money. He's countersuing because he claims Joanne created a website about him which defamed and slandered his name.
Before we begin, I want to recognize the cast of a great play that's going around the country. My Brother Marvin is the Marvin Gaye story. His sister's perspective, great play. Awesome. And a few of the cast are here. Condi Gallant, raise your hand, say hi. To the left of her, Latrice Turner, so raise your hand. Leah, raise your hand. One of the great stars, does a great job, all of them do. Pat Turner, my friend of many, many years. She's the costume designer and overall organizer of everything. We have a few other friends didn't show up, therefore they're not going to get promoted. Keith Washington, a Grammy-nominated singer and actor, he didn't show up. Always asking me for a television show. Tell him it was his moment here. This television show out there. All right. Start with you.
Well, Your Honor, I want everybody to look at this man and run the opposite direction. I brought him here today to expose him for exactly what he is, a career criminal, 3-time felon, and a liar and a thief. He's stolen credit cards from people.